Hi guys, I have a couple of reviews that I've written up in the past few days, and I just haven't managed to actually video record and post onto my YouTube channel, so I wanted to do that. The first review I have for you is something that's been floating around on the YouTube fragrance community for quite a while. It is Bentley Intense for Men. I don't have the full size bottle. I think this is a 30 ml. Sort of looks like a remote control or something. I picked it up on eBay for about $10. I thought it was worth it. Had heard a lot of reviews on it, almost all of them positive, so wanted to pick it up and see what all the hype was about. So I'll just read you my review. So whenever you see a car company going way far outside of its wheelhouse and doing something like making a fragrance instead of making cars, you can almost rest assured that the result will be something like an unmitigated disaster. Look at Ferrari, for example. I think a lot of it, now granted I've only smelled 2 or 3, but a lot of them are just, bless their hearts. I mean, they try, but, I haven't heard much about Jaguar. I haven't smelled anything that they've made, but, judging from their price point, I assume, and this is just the unrepentant elitist in me, please forgive me, that they're probably not terribly impressive. Am I wrong? Please let me know if I am in the comment section. So you can only imagine my reservations when I saw the Bentley line rolled out as nicely as a cavalcade of their own cars and discussed on YouTube. About a year or so ago, news about Bentley, and especially the Intense flanker, seemed to be the one that was really talked up, which is also the one I'm reviewing here, broke out all over YouTube to almost wholly rave reviews. Noses that I really highly respect even suggested blind buying it with almost no risk. Despite how talented anyone's nose is, my blind buying days are behind me. So what I did is I thought I'd buy I guess 30 ml is a pretty big sample. It's a small bottle, and give it a sniff myself. Cost me maybe like $10. What do I have to lose? So what did I think? First, a little bit of background about the fragrance itself. Bentley for Men Intense was released just a couple of years ago, 2013, and was created by the perfumer Natalie Larson, who, by the way, if you don't know anything about Natalie Larson, she's one of the true workhorses of the perfume world. She's worked... I looked at the Fragrantica database, and she has done work for 56 different companies. Now, that's not 56 different scents that she's made, but 56 different companies for which she has made a scent, and several of those different companies she's made several scents for, including Bentley, Jill Sander, Lalique, and Mandarina Duck, which is also talked up on YouTube. She's also the nose behind Mandarina Pure Black and Mandarina Black Extreme. So call her what you will, but you can't call her lazy. The top notes of Bentley Intense are black pepper, incense, geranium, or pelargonium, as it's also known, bergamot, and bay. The heart has clary sage, labdanum, leather, cinnamon, rum, and woodsy notes. And the base rounds out with a cedar, patchouli, sandalwood, and benzoin. Fragrantica calls this an oriental spicy, but I think the spicy really takes a backseat to the woody, especially the cedar and the sandalwood. So I'd probably call it more of an oriental woody than an oriental spicy, but I don't make these decisions. So, what do I get right off the top? On the top, there's this sort of slight booziness, which you would expect on the top from the rum, and there's a sweetness. And I think both of them are really nicely understated and subtle. And the booziness is, like I said, no doubt due to the rum accord. The sweetness due to a combination of the pelargonia, most of which are somewhat similar in smell to Rose Absolute, and this sort of earthy, vanilla-like benzoin. The spices are key players, but only play sort of a supporting role. There's definite black pepper and bay and sage, which are kind of staples of masculine scents, but I can just barely pick out each one of those in their own respective appearances in the dry down. So the vast majority of the sweetness and the booze on my skin are gone just after a few minutes, and you're left with sort of this bare, somewhat uninteresting dry down of cedar, sandalwood, and like a smoky incense. The dry down that I get consists mostly of like desiccated pencil shavings, reminiscent of when you were a kid and you'd stick your number 2 Dixon Ticonderoga into the electric, pencil sharpener, and you'd hear it hum, and then you'd pull out and you see this big cloud of cedar wood dust, and you get this big whiff of it. I mean, it's one of my favorite olfactory smells from childhood. I love that smell. But the wood in the dry down is kind of overpowering, and I really don't detect too much else other than the wood and just the incense together. I don't really get much patchouli, nothing else. At no point do I get anything resembling leather, which I think a lot of people claim to smell. Although it's easy to see why it's listed. I mean, the scent is very stereotypically masculine in a number of ways, and the notes sort of lend themselves to a variety of vaguely masculine notes, which, when they come together in the right way, can kind of smell like leather. This is a wood, I think, much more than a leather, and a leather much more than a spicy. But it could be advertised as all three, depending on which way the wind was blowing in the marketing department that day. Upon a second and a third wearing, I do get more incense in the dry down, which makes things a little bit more interesting, but still you're only really left with cedar and tiny bits of sandalwood and some incense. It's really nice, though. In short, what you have here with Bentley Intense for Men is a barely sweet, very barely sweet, mostly from the rum, a little bit of benzoin, slightly boozy scent drenched in cedar shavings, like a rum distiller who's worked a long day and goes to relax in a pencil factory. Does that sound odd? Yeah, I mean, it probably does, but it's quite nice. And if you don't mind the wood-forward, smoky incense dry down, which can be a little bit simple. I mean, it's not exactly a challenging scent, I don't think. You'll probably take a liking to it. If there were only a few things still dancing around on the dry down, this would be a wholehearted recommendation on my part, but it is a tad on the simple side. As it stands, I think a lot of guys will like it. And this isn't exactly unisex by any stretch of the imagination, but I know there are a lot of ladies out there that like strong, woody, incensey, smoky scents. And if you're one of them, if you want to smell like a lumberjack, check it out. It'll do the trick. Longevity and sillage, at least on me, are above average, both, which is always wonderful to find because my skin is always just sucking up scent. As far as price goes, you can find, actually I looked earlier today, you can find a 100 ml bottle for $40 American on Amazon. I think it runs you a little bit more on places like FragranceNet. But apparently the stuff goes fast, so get it while you can before they screw it up with a reformulation. Here's my little sample small bottle, men's wallet of Bentley for Men Intense. Go check it out. Bye, guys.